Welcome to the Art of Hobbiness. I'm Erin. I'm here with my co-host Tam.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about hobbies and happiness. And today's topic is one of Tam's new hobbies, wax seals.
Yes.
I can't excited to hear about all this. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Tell us
Well,
all.
wax seals are like, you know when you watch like those, I don't know, we'll say like the Christmas Carol, right? And Scrooge is writing his letters and he like stamps it with little wax to mark his thing.
Yep.
That's what that is.
It feels very royal to me. I think it's like
so
something like
royal.
a king would do.
Yes.
For
Oh my God. It's royal. It's festive. Because like what really made me want to pick it is, the upcoming holiday season, right? I was like, okay, I want to pick a hobby that's holiday-ish. And which is actually kind of hard, in my opinion, because most of the stuff that I was seeing as suggestions for hobbies was centered around decorating.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was where my mind would go. But that can obviously go many directions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just was like, I don't know if I'm ready to dive into that realm because I feel like that requires a lot of... it's like a hosting mindset that I just don't believe I have. So I thought I'd avoid that and went with the wax seal thing, which kind of plays into, my holiday cards I send out every year. I was like, well, that'd be perfect. I can make a stamp that kind of zhuzhes up my holiday cards. Let's try it. But there's, so first it involved figuring out what I wanted, right? Like what do the supplies look like? And originally I was looking at kind of like those, like you would get like a stick of wax, you'd like hold a little light above it and it would melt it on the paper and you can stamp it, right? Okay, that's fine. So then I was like, well, maybe there's like an influencer that can there's always an influencer for something, right? That can show you how to just take it up a notch. And I was like, I want to take it up a notch. And I found this influencer, Strictly Rita is who she is. And the girl's got it going on when it comes to wax
check that
stamps.
out.
You have to. So she suggests you get it's a cute little circle that's like the size of, I don't know, like an apple. And it's basically like an easy bake oven for our generation.
Oh, okay.
Part 2.
Yeah.
You just get like a little tea light and put it under there. And then the next tool is like this little spoon, essentially, that you put on top of this little oven. And you just get wax, which you can buy them in like pellets. They're like the size of like a pea.
Okay.
And you put just a couple in there. That little tea light just melts them on down.
Okay.
And then you can either pour them right onto the paper, or what Little Miss Rita does is she gets like it's like a kind of like a rubber mat that you can put it directly on. And here's where the rubber mat becomes key. Is because if you pour the wax directly onto an envelope, like that's it. You're done. Like there's no coming back from it. Like if you try to peel that sucker off, envelope is ruined.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it just doesn't leave. You can argue that that's an easier method because you just pour the wax, stamp, move on with your life, right? But if you do it the Rita way, there's a more like creative, I'm going to say the word perfectionism that you can put in there that kind of, I was like, I just want a little perfectionism in this hobby.
Yeah, I mean, it's holiday cards, right?
You
got to like keep up with the Joneses over here.
So I was like, I want to have a little perfectionism in it. So if you pour it on this rubber like pad, it just peels right off, which then you can get like a little 2-sided sticky tape and just slap that on the back there and then put it on the envelope, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying to yourself, okay, but why put the extra effort into putting it on the rubber stamp and then buying the sticky tape? That just seems like extra things. That's because what Little Rita taught me is that you can also take wax stamping like an extra level and put in more than one colored wax to layer different types of seals. So, for instance, I bought like a wreath stamp. And then I bought a Santa Claus stamp. I could just pour some wax on the seal, stamp it, and then move on with my life, right? But it's just not what I wanted to do, Erin. With the seal, you could just take a little bit of red wax and pour it on Santa's hat and then scrape the extra off so just his hat is red. And then I can pour some green wax on top of that so that maybe the background of him is green. And then I could put a little extra white on there and maybe the lettering in that stamp is white. Yes. And boom, I've got this artwork.
That sounds amazing.
That's
That's
much
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
You know,
That detail, is it difficult to get, or it sounds like it would be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like this was not something that like I just like walked into and was like, boom, done. Like first of all, the stamps are incredibly small and the details are incredibly small in it. So in order to kind of work, and the wax like cools quickly.
Yeah.
So like you really have to have a plan in mind. You really have to be quick. And you have to be able to. You might need glasses. Like honestly, I was questioning my vision in this. Like I could only do so many before I started to get kind of cross.
Yeah.
But so skill, I think, could come easy because just in the couple of times that I've tried to go that extra level of like creativity, I feel like I was able to be decent out of the gate, right? Yeah. And that's with me having like no artistic ability whatsoever.
You have to show us some photos of that or video.
Yeah.
It sounds like really cool.
It's really fun. You got to be careful because you can burn yourself like a lot, like a lot. Like I think I cried the first day, not from frustration of like not being able to do the skill, but from just the amount of times that I burned myself. But I'm only burning myself because I'm trying to be so like creative and detailed. Like if you just pour the wax on the paper and stamp,
you're not going to burn yourself.
You're going to be totally fine. Right. But if you try to do what Tam's trying to do, you're going to burn yourself.
So did you find that this like helped your perfectionism, or or did it work with your perfectionism or go against it?
Well, we always talk so negatively about perfectionism, right? Because like there's no reason for it. Like that's self-implied, right? Or we put that on ourselves. But I don't know, like it kind of, in this scenario, it gave me a little bit of a competition or a challenge for myself. And that I felt like my perfectionism kind of played a positive role in it. Because I feel like it made me want to keep going and keep focusing down and really like.
But to me, that's not perfectionism. That's you're wanting to hone that skill.
Okay.
And you're being very detail oriented. Yeah. And you liked that in that way. Yeah. And that's not necessarily perfectionism. To me, is trying to be better than anybody else and perfect to a fault. It's like you're doing it. Like your eyes are burning, but you're still gonna keep going because you got to get it right.
Right. I mean, there was that element of that, but you're right. I definitely don't feel like I need to be the best in the world. It was more of I just really wanted. Like I think I was shocked at how decent I could be out of the gate.
And that feels good, right?
Yeah, it felt really good that I was like, okay, maybe I do want to try to get like really good at this and really nice. My only hesitation I would give anybody who's interested in trying this, because I hopefully like you're like, I'm going home and making wax stamps now, is I feel like it can be a very pricey hobby.
Yeah, I bet those stamps can get expensive.
Exactly.
Right?
It's the stamps that gets you because the wax is pretty cheap. Right. Buying like the little easy bake oven for it is super cheap. Yeah. Like it's nothing crazy. I would say like maybe $25 right there, right? One stamp, wax, oven, a tea light. Yeah. $25 tops. It's the fact that like, you can't freehand the stamps, right? Like you actually have to have the mold for it. And that's where I think the priciness level would
if you could get some really fancy ones.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever come across, I mean, I would imagine this exists, like you can make custom ones or make your own.
Yeah. Like, if you look on Etsy, you can find a whole bunch of shops that are like specifically in like the wedding market. Yeah. Like there's a lot of them that's kind of like the A+J or the E+T. Yeah. And which I might have looked at for us and we might be having more comments. But like, I feel like it's, you can definitely make your own. You can definitely have people make them. But again, they're kind of pricey. Yeah. So it's like, if you're going to get into the hobby, I mean, I think you've really got to, where do I go with this hobby? Like it's like, I really like it for.
It's a pretty niche hobby. Like, if you want to actually utilize it for something. Yes. So, I mean, obviously Christmas cards coming up. Right. But how often, when other time of year do you really send stuff like that?
Exactly. Like it's literally just for this 1 month that I'm going to just make a couple of stamps.
Hey, maybe it'll inspire you to start sending people letters, I don't know.
Oh, that's a great idea. Like start being like a little pen pal. Yeah. Because honestly, like the amount of joy and excitement I got from it, I was like, man, I'm going to be really disappointed when I finally actually make all of my wax seal stamps and put them on there and then send them out into the world, which, by the way, you'll have to let me know if like the stamp actually stays on.
I was just thinking that because I was like, I wonder when it goes through the mail if it will stay on, and like curious. How they process the mail. If it'll make it.
Yeah, because I feel like whenever you put it like right on the envelope, like I said, that sucker is not going anywhere. Like it's on there. But with the extra sided element of that 2-sided tape, I'll be curious.
Yeah. You know, I wonder if you might want to look into postage on those letters. They might up the postage.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Because you know they like have to send letters through they usually send them through like an automated thing, and I think if there's like they're too thick.
Oh no, Erin!
Yeah, so you might want to look into that.
All of this, and everyone's gonna be like, "Where's my stamp?"
It's just a thought. I don't know if anybody knows anything about that. Please let us know.
I will report back and let everyone know after the holiday season if my stamps were a success or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to feel like there's got to be some sort of involvement in the postal community because I mean, like I said, the wedding industry is humongous.
Yeah, and the people do that.
And if people are putting their fancy wax stamps on there, which it really is super fancy, Erin. Like I feel
can't wait to see it. I'm curious. You know, you tried calligraphy not so long ago. Do you have any interest in like combining those two hobbies?
Okay, I did actually have a consideration, and I was like,
they kind of go hand in hand.
They do, and I was like, do I really want to take this the extra level? And when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, maybe what I can do is like, you know how when you address like over the holidays that letters are usually like the Hayden family, the Shimoni family. Maybe I might try to get fancy with just the T and the and just the S and the Shimoni.
There you go.
Maybe I'll entertain that. But I did try to think, I was like, I wonder if there's a way that I can layer some hobbies on this that can kind of, I don't know, I guess flex on my receivers of these Christmas cards. Like, look what I can do now, girl.
Yes.
But is that too much of a flex, Erin? Am I really just being silly with that? Or
I mean, I think like it depends on your intention. You know, I think that I know you're saying that in jest, so it's not like you know, obviously you're not like really trying to flex.
No.
But I think it's cool to share something that you're really excited about, right? Yeah. Isn't that the like kind of some of the point of doing a hobby so you can share it with other people? I mean, it is for you, but it's also nice to be able to like talk to people about other interests, people that have the same interests.
Oh yeah,
or starts a conversation. Like that's the cool thing about it, right? So,
absolutely.
No, I think it's all positive. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And I really feel like, you know, I'm constantly telling you, like, I'm always looking, like, I feel like I'm missing a colorful hobby. I feel like I'm missing something like that. And I don't know, wax stamp seems like it's kind of scratching that itch, and like it could be the one.
I wonder if there's any pivot from there, or you know, the woman that you found on Instagram, if she has any other uses for the wax seal.
I'm gonna have to check. She's got stamps like, so she has her own line, and I'll have to make sure like
she makes her own seals.
So she's got her own like line of like stamps that she does, and it's for everything, every holiday, every season. Like, and like her videos are like, you just watch her just like get creative and making them, and it's kind of like watching the Great British Baking Show. Like it's zen, and you're so into it, and you could just sit there and just watch it all day.
I'll have to check her out for
you
sure. That sounds interesting. So, well, that's awesome. It sounds like you found something you really enjoyed and you're getting into. And are you? How would you rate it overall on 1 to 5 scale?
Oh man, I would honestly. I feel like this one would be a very high ranking one. Like I'd probably put this one at a 5 for me. The only thing that I can possibly think negatively about it is just like, where do I go from here? Because like I said, I feel like right now it's like a time capsule hobby. It's really purely just for...
It's a true hobby though.
But
like at its core, you know, it brings you joy. There's no like... That's great.
Right.
You know, you'll get to use again next year.
And we talk about like, you know, like is a hobby supposed to be something that you do all year long, or is it okay for it to just be like this one-off little piece? And there's part of me that's kind of like, you know, I just love the holidays in general, and I get really excited about them. And, you know, maybe this is just that one thing that really does truly just stay my, like, in like that festivity portion that adds to my excitement of the season, something to look forward to. So remains to be seen where we go here. I'm not sure if it's something I can find to spread throughout the year, but right now I definitely think that this is, well, depending, I guess, on the success on how many of them actually make it to people via the stamps, this might be something that I do.
That's awesome.
Every season. It was really fun.
That's so exciting. Well, we hope that our listeners enjoyed hearing about wax seals. And if hopefully you're inspired to maybe try this, or some other hobby that you've been thinking about. So if we would love to hear if any of you try this hobby and what you thought. Please, if you like this episode or listening to some of our other episodes, leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. And we look forward to hearing from you next time.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Happiness. Be sure to leave a review and rating. And for a little extra Erin and Tam fun, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Pinterest for behind-the-scenes footage of our journey to find happiness.